I recently built a wet bar that housed several standard drawers and a pull-out trash receptacle. In this video, I will cover the drawer box construction, mostly focusing on the trash pull-out. This was my first foray into machine dovetails, and it took me a little time to get things dialed in, and they were by no means perfect. Each drawer side needed a dado to house the drawer bottoms, some of which were 1/4 inch, others 1/2 inch. On the drawers with 1/2 inch bottoms, I made 2 adjacent passes with the router. Those little tail bits can be a bit fragile, so to be safe, I used a Forstner bit to clear the wood from the beginning and the end of my dado. By the way, this is ash veneered MDF. I used a single 1/4 inch sheet on the light duty drawers, and I laminated 2 1/4 inch sheets for the heavier duty drawers. And after a successful dry fit, it was time to figure out the top of the trash receptacle. I knew the bins would fit just fine, but I also wanted to include lids, and the lids complicated things. But with my best guess as to where things should land, I started cutting out my template. Now I needed these cavities to be very particular because I wanted the weight of the bins to just barely rest on the drawer bottom without allowing the bins to shift around. So with a lot of scribing and many modifications, I had a template that was not completely useless. After cutting my ash panel to size and making sure it would fit, I decided it would be a good idea to add a lip around the perimeter to help align the top. Just trying to figure out how best to lay out this top with little help from my mediocre template. I had intended to use it as a router jig, but really it turned out to be more of a loose measuring guide. Now, this is not the typical grain orientation one would use on a box like this. I'm not entirely sure why I chose to use a full panel instead of separate rails running perpendicular across the ends and center. Now, since there's grain going in different directions and it's all going to be glued together, only time will tell if issues arise due to wood movement. I really have no idea, but the stakes seem pretty low if all I have to fix is one drawer box. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of gluing the lid to the drawer box, but it went together without issue. Luckily, the bins fit just as I had hoped. As I mentioned, my dovetails weren't perfect, so I did use a bit of wood filler. I didn't capture any footage of the finishing process either, but I just sprayed a couple coats of General Finishes Enduro-Var. I used their semi-gloss, and then after that cures, I wet sand down to a satin sheen. So I was pretty pleased. I got the spacing just right to open both lids. And then I remembered that the countertop overhangs the cabinets. Oh well. That just means the second can can't have a lid, but recycling doesn't really need a lid anyway. Thanks for watching.